Mic check, mic check. right, let's get ready to start public speaking. All right. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November 11th, 2021 Envision SPPS public hearing. The time is now 5:31 p.m. and we will begin. Public comment during today's public hearing provides the opportunity to bring issues to the attention of the Board of Education. This is an opportunity for the board to listen. As a general rule, the board will not respond to any comments made by speakers. All speakers at this and future public comment sessions are encouraged to sign up in advance by completing the online public comment form, which is found on the Board of Education website at spps.org/BOE. Speakers may also sign up by contacting our intern board secretary at sarah.dalkey@spps.org or by calling 612-434-1105. After you have spoken, we invite you to hand your written comments to Ombudsperson Dana Abrams, who will be assisting you at the podium this evening. You are also welcome to email or send your comments to the board secretary. Audience members are asked to remain quiet during public comment sessions so all may hear. Speakers are advised that any complaint or issue related to personnel must be made in writing. For your own legal protection and the legal rights of staff, please do not include identifiers of St. Paul Public Schools employees such as names, job titles, grades taught, or work location. Each speaker is asked to complete their remarks in 3 minutes tonight. Each presentation will be timed. When time is up, speakers are asked to complete their statement immediately. If the presentation exceeds time, the speaker will be muted. Please note that for those using interpreter, a total of 5 minutes will be allotted for comments and interpretation. Please note 3 speakers will be called up at the podium at a time so that they may make their way to the podium, stand in the designated area, and be prepared to speak. If a large group wishes to address one subject, they may be asked to coordinate amongst themselves to present their subject within a time allotted by the chair. Speakers are asked to be respectful when making their presentations. Any disrespectful conduct by a speaker will result in forfeiting their speaking time. Audience members are likewise expected to be respectful of speakers and our listening session process. We ask that audience members remain respectful and quiet while others are speaking. Please remain seated. Please no pacing back and forth in the room. We ask that people who have signs, please sit in the back or at the sides of the seating area. Finally, please practice social distancing when possible. Wear a mask at all times. A face mask is required for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors, age 2 and older in all SPVS buildings, regardless of the person's vaccination status. If you don't have a mask, we will find extra masks for you at the door if you need one. I also want to note that the St. Paul Board of Education today announced it is rescheduling the vote of the Envision SPPS. The school district's plan to provide a well-rounded education at all its schools by merging some programs and closing some elementary schools. The vote on the proposal was initially scheduled for Tuesday, November 16th. The new date for this vote is Wednesday, December 1st. This due date gives us the opportunity to fully comply with Minnesota statute that requires a public hearing on school closures by publicly noticed 2 weeks ahead of the board vote, and will also provide board members additional time to analyze the proposal, as well as permits all current board members the opportunity to vote on this important matter. As a result of winning the special election seat, Chair Janelle Foster will resign her current position and assume the remainder of a 4-year term made vacant by the resignation of Steve Marchese. 2-year term, I apologize, who moved out of Minnesota. Foster's move will mean Director Yusuf Carrillo's appointment will end, leaving 6 board members. That transition will take place after the board votes on the Envision SPPS on December 1st. Therefore, there will be an added public hearing on Envision SPPS Tuesday, November 30th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Those wishing to speak at that public hearing can sign up in advance or in person or on the evening of the event. The public hearing may be also viewed via live stream through comments, though comments will be provided in person only. Please view board websites for updates or to be added to the mailing list for public notices. Please contact our board secretary. All right, so please begin. As speakers, please begin by stating your name only. No additional information, such as address, is necessary. All right, our first speakers of the night are Thi Vu, Dua Vu, and Sai Tao. Please come up to the podium.
Someone close down. Wait, oops, I didn't mean to. Can we try that again? Okay, take two. Hello everyone, my name is Steve. I do not want to close down Parkway. I have been going to Parkway since I was a sixth grader. I'm a seventh grader now. I like learning with my teachers and my friends. So if you close down Parkway, my school, I would be really, really sad. I want to stay with my teachers and my friends at Parkway. I have good memories there, like having fun with my eighth grade friends, playing Kahoot, and going to my classes, such as art and gym and Dare to Be Real. I want to make more memories there too, so don't close my school. Vote no, keep Parkway.
Thank you, Thi.
Yeah, you can hold.
Hello?
Talk to these guys right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi everybody, my name is Dorvu. I am a fourth grader at Nokomis Montessori North. My dad and mom said I might not have a middle school when I graduate from Nokomis. This made me really sad. I don't want you to close Parkway Montessori Middle School. Parkway is my middle school. I want to go to Parkway Montessori Middle School when I graduate from Nokomis Montessori North. So I want you to vote no, please.
Thank you, Dua.
You want me to give them your note?
Yes, please.
Hello. I first want to thank Dee and Dua for their courage and bravery to stand before you all this evening to share their story. My name is Sai Tao, and I am their mother. As their mother, it's my duty to ensure their social well-being and academic needs are met. That is why I am here. My son Dee is a seventh grader at Parkway Middle School. He is in the autism program that is there. And if you know anything about children on the spectrum, you'll know that they have to attend a school with an autism program that is in there. The only school in our area, Area A, with an autism program right now is Parkway. So if you close down Parkway, there will be no middle school in our area with an autism program. So therefore, we don't want you to close down Parkway. And as equally as important, Parkway Montessori Middle School is also also our pathway school. As you heard from my daughter Dua, there is no other middle school in St. Paul District that offers a Montessori learning environment for middle schoolers and high schoolers. Currently, there are 5 Montessori Elementary in St. Paul District serving roughly 1,300 students. And just like Dua, these 1,300 students need a middle school and high school with the Montessori environment to continue their learning in. So we demand that Parkway Montessori middle schools stay open. We urge you, the school board, to keep the Montessori program at Parkway. So my daughter Dua, along with the other 1,300 students, when they are ready, they can attend the middle school. We want you to vote no on December 1st. We want you to keep Parkway as a Montessori. We want you to grow it because we need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai. Next three speakers are Julio Almanza, Robert Carrillo, Tess Olson.
I need a clarification. I would like to give the board a copy of this so that they can see it. I will be speaking to it. It is not harmful. It is from your website. Good evening. As a former St. Paul employee, as a board member in South Washington County, and as a superintendent in both Duluth and Davenport, Iowa, I am here to address your Envision program. I have been where you are today in having to close schools. I've been on that side and I've been on that side. And communication is very important to have a successful process. That is one of the things that I think is lacking in this process. But let me address the Envision. I understand what you're trying to do at the elementary in giving specialists in art and music and the like. But specifically toward the high school, it doesn't fit your Envision criteria. The pages that I've given her, which I wish you would have had, show the criteria that you have for a student to be able to enroll in an ALC. There are 12 criteria, and they basically say you are in high probability of failing in this high school. That is why you currently have 3 ALCs, only one which deals with ELL level 1 and 2, and all 3 ALCs are full with about 450 to 500 kids who cannot make it in your regular high schools. The only option you're giving them is to put them back into a high school. That makes no sense. Next, LEAP is unique. It is a school that works for kids. It is so successful, one, because of its staff, two, its administration, three, its students, and its parents. They all function together to provide a safe learning environment for the kids. When you listen to the kids, they don't talk about school. They talk about family. This is their family that is helping them to succeed. You do not have that family in the high schools. They cannot be successful there. If that's the time limit, I'm sorry. Please reject the administration's recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Almanza.
Hello, my name is Robert. I go to Wellstone and I am in second grade. There are plenty of different cultures at Wellstone. I really want to know why you are closing Wellstone and not schools where there are more white students. If you close Wellstone, I will feel sad because all my teachers were nice to me. I will feel really angry about having to go to a different school, and none of these feelings would happen if you didn't close Wellstone. The end.
Thank you, Robert.
Wellstone is home to me. I really like all of the people there. They have helped me learn Spanish. They have helped me learn how to be a better friend. They have helped me with speech. They have helped me with my big feelings. They really, really, really care about me. We moved here from Illinois in second grade. My parents looked at all the schools in St. Paul and picked Wellstone because it was the best one for me and my brother. They then they bought a house close to Wellstone just so I could go there, just for me to go into the best test I can be. There are kids like me who have big feelings and are learning Spanish. If you close Wellstone, kids like me will have to choose to learn Spanish or get the support we need. There won't be a school anymore that can do both. When I heard that the school board is thinking about closing Wilson, it made me very sad because Wilson is home to me.
Thank you, Tess. Our next three speakers are Sarita Toledo, Stephanie Anderson, Tom Diamond.
Good evening. My name is Sarita and I come from Mexico. Currently, I'm a senior at Leap High School and a finalist for the National Questbridge Scholarship. When we think of education, we should think of equity. Leap High School was created with a different purpose than all other SPPS schools, something that should be present in our minds when trying to understand Leap. Many of the students that occupy Leap's classrooms haven't in other schools before, and if you ask them what the difference between Harding High School, for instance, and Leap High School is, the majority are going to answer the number of students in the classroom. But why did these previous students move to Leap when, according to the Envision SPPS initiative, they were receiving a well-rounded education at their former schools? According to the students, they weren't truly learning. In a classroom with 40 students and just one teacher who is teaching English speakers, not English language learners, it is not surprising to hear that students who know little or no English at all are not learning anything from their teachers. What can we expect when the education being imparted is not designed to meet the individual's needs for learning? Leap High School was founded to meet those needs, and that is what equity is all about. I implore you to have that in mind when making a decision that will affect those students that need LEAP. As part of the Student Ambassadors leadership team at LEAP High School, I am representing the voices of students who can't join us today, and I want to share with you the petition that they signed. We are the students from LEAP High School, and we are signing this petition to request the board members to vote no on the Envision SPPS recommendation to close our school for next school year. We need our school open because it is a safe place for new immigrants and refugees to learn English and adapt to the new country in order to become good citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarita.
I want to talk briefly about the data in terms of who will be affected by the closure of the 5 schools listed for closure and the district's October 11th slides. Specifically, I want to talk about demographic data. Envision SPPS is an inequitable plan that, if passed by the board, will affect students and families of color to a much greater degree than white students and families. According to the data on the district's website, St. Paul Public Schools is 21% white. If we look at the 5 schools set for closure, the school with the highest percentage of white students is John A. Johnson, with a student body that is 10% white. Next comes Wellstone at 9%, Highwood Hills is next at 6%, only 2% of Jackson students are white, and 0% of LEAP's students are white. If all of the scenarios are carried forward relative to their representation in the district, families and students of color still will shoulder more of the trauma and burden inflicted by the total systemic impact of the Envision plan than their white counterparts. Yes. These are the very kids who we owe a more creative and a more thoughtful approach than closing their school. We can have a city full of buildings that serve our kids in completely different ways. You just heard about that from LEAP, right? The ways that these 5 schools are serving their unique populations. And this can be sustainable. You just have to invest in it. Closing schools is the opposite of that. You say you are for the kids. If you support this plan, it begs the question, exactly what kids are you for?
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. As a veteran on Veterans Day, I feel I have to acknowledge the sacrifice that fellow veterans have made so we can have meetings like this. I encourage you to vote no on the proposal to close Highwood Hills Elementary. It's a BIPOC majority neighborhood, economically disadvantaged. In addition, there are hurdles on both language and religious backgrounds that make it more challenging. This neighborhood, the facility also includes the rec center, and the loss of this as a community, besides educational, as a community building entity, we would lose every facility. This is the only public facility in the neighborhood. And people depend on this as the way to build a neighborhood and a community there. And you would be depriving them of that. Director Allen was out the other day, and I greatly appreciate her efforts to come and speak with the community. That is the first time we have had any voice in this at all. This is not the way to operate a school system, such an important element of our neighborhood and the city. They also have the fact that we continually watch that the differential in the city on multiple levels, that resources go to majority white neighborhoods on all sorts of levels, and we are denied them continually. So just now taking the last element of community benefit for this neighborhood would totally undercut the ability of this neighborhood to be viable going forward. So I'd greatly appreciate your consideration on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Next 3 speakers are Saganesh Selamiab, Russell Packard, Linda Jones.
First off, I want to thank you for holding my babies last time that they were here. My name is Dr. Saganesh Salamov. I am a physician in the St. Paul neighborhood and a proud parent of Wellstone students. Next week, December 1st, you will be taking a vote on what will be one of the most important and really a decisive issue facing St. Paul Public Schools. You will be voting to decide if we, as a public school community, are going to embrace a bold plan to really re-envision public education, or if we will continue in the path of least resistance. The same path that asks historically marginalized communities to continue to bear the brunt of a broken system by closing schools that are central to these communities. As a Black mother of biracial children, our family believes strongly in public education. We made a thoughtful and a conscious decision to send our daughters to Wellstone. We chose the school because of its racial and its economic diversity and the opportunity for our girls to learn Spanish. In the past 6 years, we have loved this community. We have built that we have built at Wellstone. And we have been reminded that we are going to a second tier school. A couple years ago, our school didn't have the budget for a librarian. So it was us, the parents, that went then volunteered to keep our library in order. We haven't been given access to a robust extracurricular activities, but the community of Wellstone has been able to partner with community agencies to fill in the gaps for our students. Despite this under support and underfunding of our school, Wellstone has been able to maintain a strong enrollment. We have a thriving community that is centered on service to others and an openness really to learning. The Wellstone continues to be the school that we choose for our family. The SPPS Envision Plan seems to be focused really on a single metric of enrollment to make decisions about closure. It fails to outline alternative solutions, community-based collaborations, and true parent involvement and engagement in providing a robust and well-rounded education. And I will emphasize that well-rounded education for all students, and really all students. Over and over, underfunding and undersupport of students has landed at the feet of Black, brown, immigrant, and historically marginalized population, a fact that I don't need to tell this board. And this plan doesn't offer any new leveling of the playing field or redistribution of resources that could potentially really be reimagined. The SPPS Envision Plan needs to be rethought and it needs to be redone. It needs to have a more honest conversation with the communities that are affected, and it needs to involve all the parents and communities in decisions that are being made about us. So we urge you to vote no. We ask you to vote no to school closures. We ask you to vote no to dismantling communities that work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saganish.
Equity requires listening to our students and creating culturally responsive classrooms. Equity requires our district to engage families in planning, not just implementation, as it seems you're trying to do. We need LEAP to support immigrants and refugees. We need Highwood Hills to meet needs of Somali families. We need Galtier to provide community and special education needs and programming. We need Parkway to provide Montessori education. And we need Wellstone, Paul and Sheila's legacy. Our shared identity and mission is vital to our continued high enrollment and attendance. Now, I want to share my short speaking time with everyone so that you will understand the essence of our bus values and the strength of our community. Please rise as you are able and sing with me. I have lyrics for you to look at them. All our students love this song. Here we go. And sing it out. And Wellstone was our senator. He fought for equality. Come on! Healthy kids in a peaceful world. Education that is free. Get on board, children, children. Get on board. Come on! Let's go! Get on board, children, children. Let's ride the Wellstone bus. Súbanse al bus. Niños, niños, súbanse al bus. Niños, niños, súbanse al bus. Niños, niños, vamos al Wellstone bus. Paul y Sheila Wellstone creyeron en ti y en mí. Respeto, responsabilidad, seguridad en la comunidad. Get on board, children. Canta! Get on board. Come on! I hope you're listening. Suben niños, niños, suben niños, niños, suben niños, niños, vamos al Wellstone bus. We like to sing and play all day. We do so while we learn. We work and share the Wellstone way, and everyone gets a turn. Get on board, children, come on, get on board. Children, children, get on board. Children, children, let's ride the Wellstone bus. Suben sail boost. Niños, niños, suben sail boost. Niños, niños, suben sail boost. Niños, niños, vamos al Wellstone boost. Ahí está.
All right, thank you, Russell.
Good evening, members of the board and district leaders. My name is Linda Jones. I am a St. Paul resident and SPPS educator, a parent of 2 SPPS students, and a former SPPS student. This evening, though, I come to you mostly as an educator. I am an educator at Highland Park Middle School, which is the feeder school for our Wellstone Elementary students. I've been teaching there for over 20 years, and I've witnessed the beautiful growth of our district offering 1 Spanish immersion elementary school to 2 and now 3. Now, it is with much pride to share that almost half of our Highland students are Spanish immersion students. In the beginning of my teaching experience, it was a small percentage of Spanish immersion students who attended Highland Middle. The growth of a robust Spanish immersion program makes me so extremely proud of SPPS and our multilingual learners. The recommendation to close Wellstone greatly threatens our Spanish immersion programming in St. Paul Public Schools. I watched very carefully the district leadership recommendations in Envision SPPS, and specifically as it related to immersion programming. I read the Hmong immersion work report and saw dozens of names, including many parents and staff. I also saw a list of numerous meetings. After reading that report, I felt that it provided me with a lot of useful information. With anticipation, I checked the district website daily and weekly for the French and Spanish immersion report. At the board meetings, I heard that these work reports would be out soon. They are not out yet. How can a recommendation precede a work study? I would want to see something that mirrors that same 2-year timeline and immense input from staff and families as I saw in the Hmong immersion recommendation. Wellstone is a school that has 91% students of color and almost 50% Latino. A school that has 42% of its families speaking Spanish as a home language, with over half of its students enrolled in English language learning. Where are the details of the meetings that show the community input from these parents and students? Where are the Wellstone families and staff that would recommend closing a sustainable and fully enrolled school with over 500 students? Where is the report that names who was actually involved in this recommendation? I am extremely concerned that without proper engagement in this process, we will lose a lot of these dedicated families and competent staff who feel left out, excluded, and on the margins. Nearby charter schools such as Cesar Chavez and neighboring districts with Spanish immersion schools will gladly open the doors to them. While you might see recommendations under Envision SPPS that should be considered, this is definitely not one of them. Until each recommendation can be voted on singularly, the school board should pause. We must wait for those specific reports to illustrate a genuine involvement of our families and staff over a generous span of time. If we do not see this, and I do not,
Ms.
a no
Jones, your
vote
time
is
is up.
honestly the
Thank you. Our next 3 speakers are Hannah Pearson, Rebecca Meinhardt, Robin Shields Cutler.
Chair Vu, members of the board, Superintendent Gothard. My name is Hannah Pearson, and I am the mother of a first and third grader at Paul and Sheila Wellstone Elementary. I also have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old that we hope to send to Wellstone one day. I'm an SPPS employee, and my first 6 years in the district were spent at Wellstone as an immersion teacher. The staff at Wellstone are my friends and colleagues. I'm the secretary of the Wellstone PTO and have many friendships from that group. The Wellstone community is incredibly dear to me. I now work in the Office of Family Engagement as the academic parent-teacher teams and on-call interpreter coordinator. My husband also works in SPPS at our online school. We love St. Paul schools. We want decisions that are best not only for our beloved Wellstone community, but also for all SPPS students, because every student, staff member, and family in SPPS is important to us. With Envision SPPS, St. Paul Schools is proposing closing some schools with the hope that these closures will help to fully enroll other schools and create a well-rounded education for all students. This plan is bold, but it is also a gamble that we are taking, as we are not guaranteed that families will follow the recommendations that will be offered to them and choose the schools that we are intending them to. It is a gamble that I believe too risky in the case of Wellstone. Wellstone is a fully enrolled school, marked as green by the district's own assessment. We have an incredibly well-rounded education. Our students have specialists in art, dance, technology, world cultures, phy-ed, and a truly phenomenal science education. We have a full-time nurse, counselor, social workers, EL teachers, and the only Spanish special education program in the district. We also have a thriving bilingual program and an incredibly diverse student population, being 48% Latino, 20% Black and African American, 17% Asian, and 9% white. Wellstone is honestly the epitome of a well-rounded education, and that's why we chose to send our students there. The district is proposing to close Wellstone, though, in an attempt to create a well-rounded education in another area of the city. I am extremely concerned that this is an unwise decision. I am concerned that our gamble may not pay off and that our beloved community will be broken apart with very little to show for it. I worry about the ramifications of Wellstone's closure on our students, staff, families, the North End community, and St. Paul Public Schools as a whole. The love for Wellstone that is being displayed here, the activism, the countless hours of volunteer work, the tears and sleepless nights show that the SPPS has done well with the Wellstone. Wellstone is a thriving community. Wellstone staff, families, and students love our school. Should that be broken apart in the hope of fixing other issues in our district? I ask you to vote no on Envision SPPS. Please ask for a new plan that embraces the same creativity while actively engaging with communities to find potential solutions. We can do better when we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
Hello, good evening. I'm speaking for Rebecca Meinhardt. She's a pre-K teacher at Wellstone, and also my son's teacher. I have 3 points about Wellstone. Number 1 is that we don't need your criteria for closing. We don't meet your criteria for closing. I know that enrollment is down in most schools, but in Wellstone, we don't meet the criteria for closing. We are a thriving, beautiful school. I would like to know what put us on this list. Number 2, if you close Wellstone, you're going to leave half of the city without a Spanish-speaking school run by St. Paul Public Schools. Families are going to leave for the 2 charter schools that speak Spanish and the dual immersion in Roseville and new school that Christina Osario is opening in Maplewood. If you want to keep attendance up in the district, you need to keep Wellstone open. Families from our east side are not going to put their children on an hour-long ride bus across to the west side. Number 3, SPPS has a long history of closing Spanish-speaking programs. The first was Homecroft, the second was Bento, and the third was Cherokee Heights. And now you're coming for Wellstone. The only Spanish-speaking school that has survived all the closings is Adams. The optics of closing all the high-poverty Spanish-speaking Black and brown schools is ugly. SPPS even closed Riverview at one point. Thank you for your time. I'm obviously very biased, but that is because Wellstone is a functioning, happy place.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Robin. Over the past weeks, you've heard many concerns about the Envision proposal's impacts on students, families, and communities. I will focus my comments on fundamental issues with the Envision process, centering on the data, which has become a boilerplate defense of the proposal. I am the proud parent of a student at Wellstone's dual language program. I am also a professor of biology at Macalester College, where my work regularly includes the analysis of complex data. From this lens, I would like to highlight two critical problems with the Envision proposal: data misrepresentation and a toxic either-or mentality. The term data has been leveraged inappropriately by Envision throughout this process. It is false and dangerous to equate data simply with numbers. Objectively, even these data do not support Wellstone's closure. But further, in a complex data set, numbers are never enough. Collecting qualitative and quantitative contextual data is critical and essential for a complete proposal, but Envision did not collect this type of data. Envision representatives excuse their lack of community engagement by saying parents should not be forced to vote on school closures, but this misses the purpose of community engagement. True community engagement would mean not only valuable data collection, but shared visioning to create equitable, vibrant school communities. Secondly, I'm troubled by the lack of alternatives and by the assertion by Envision that this proposal is the only solution and only as a whole package. The school board is being asked to vote on a single proposal with no alternatives or changes based on listening to community members. This either-or mentality is closed-minded and manipulative. Envision's four-year prediction under no action assumes that a no vote excludes any alternate vision. There are always other options, but you might need more data. Change is necessary, but good change must include the voice of the community as a critical source of data. Students, parents, and staff should be included in an open and transparent way, not with limited and selective voices. I urge you to vote no on this incomplete proposal and engage the broader community in a process of change and a restoration of trust, a revision of Envision. To conclude, I'm reminded of something shared by Director Kopp during the September 20th meeting about the construction of a new park and what playground equipment families would want. Families, she rightly said, are not experts on playground equipment, but should be asked what they and their children enjoy doing and playing, so planners can make a park to support those activities. In their process, Envision never opened the conversation. As a result, they propose a playground that doesn't meet the needs of those who actually want to use it. What happens when families decide to go to another playground? Or when a community is not invested in the space? How do we build a playground that is accessible and equitable for all families? We could have answers, but we just don't have the data. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robin. The next three speakers: Jean Shao, Tom Doyle, Sophorn Lissick. Repeat that again: Jean Shao, Tom Doyle, Sophorn Lissick.
Real ត្រីសួស្តីអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាខ្ញុំឈ្មោះសុភ័ណ្ឌលសិកខ្ញុំជាជនភៀសខ្លួនមកពីស្រុកខ្មែរ My name is Sapon Lissik. I am a refugee from Cambodia. I am a proud graduate of St. Paul Public Schools. I have been a resident of St. Paul St. Paul for nearly 40 years and have been working for St. Paul Public Schools for 32 years. I worked at traditional high schools in this district for 11 years and have been teaching chemistry and physics at Leap High School for 20 years. Here are some of the extracurricular and enrichment activities that have been happening at Leap to make Leap a well-rounded school. We have senior dinner/prom, including finding formal wear for students. Students plan the event. That includes dinner, DJ, and dancing, all for $20. We had ski trips, including ski lessons. We provided winter jackets, hats, gloves for our students, all in less than $20. We have students on Central High School soccer teams. We have culture, party that celebrates students' native countries. LEAP students have participated in physics days at Valley Fair, planetarium visits, physics force at the University of Minnesota, science museum field trips, and college visits. LEAP has students in Student Ambassador Leadership Team, Right Track Summer Job, PSEO, College Possible, 3M STEM, and many more. All of our field trips are either free or at a group discount. I mention all these activities because the Envision SPPS plan does not include any mention of LEAP's extensive efforts to provide enrichment for our students. I am worried that LEAP was included for closure without sufficient consideration of the school, our mission with the district, our curriculum, and our enrichment activities. Okun, Natnaknia, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue Foreign.
Hello, my name is Tom Doyle, and I teach at Leap High School. I'd like to respond to 3 reasons that the district has given for closing Leap High School. First, it's true that our enrollment is down, but I want you to remember this is 4 years after Trump administration that's been hostile to immigrants and refugees, 2 years of COVID restrictions that have allowed not very many people to come into the United States. But things are changing. Yesterday, I had a student from Afghanistan in my class, a brand new student from Afghanistan in my class. A student from Ivory Coast helped him find the lunchroom. A student from Somalia helped him find a place to pray. This is the kind of stuff that happens every day at LEAP. It'd be a shame to turn our backs on him and students like him. Second, at the LEAP community information session last Thursday, we were told that small schools like LEAP fail to provide a well-rounded education because we can't offer the same enrichment opportunities that big high schools. In the 3 years that I've been at LEAP, our students have been to plays at Park Square Theater, Pangea World Theater, and the Guthrie Theater. During COVID, we had virtual workshops with Wing Young Huey, a well-known local photographer. We had the writers John Coy and Sumakta Vongse talk to our students about their work. Our students participated in an artist residency with Simone Leclerc, a filmmaker through Film North, and an opera residency and performance with Arbite Theater. And supported by the Center for Equity and Culture, we visited Mississippi Creative Arts School to hear Kalia Yang read from her most recent work, and we had a chance to ask her questions. Our students have been on the Badote field trips. They've been on field trips to Construct Tomorrow to learn about trade opportunities in the trades, and they've been to the Job Corps field trips, fall open house. Our students have participated in the Youth Leadership Program at Wilder Foundation. They've gone camping for free in the Boundary Waters near Widgewagon through YMCA's Bold and Gold program. They played on an intramural soccer team organized by one of our EAs, a former LEAP student. They've had automotive training through the Newgate School and the district's Monroe Auto program. I could go on. These opportunities are available because our community partners believe in supporting our immigrants and our refugees. It would be a shame to lose these connections. Finally, on October 18th, the district told you about the parent of a former LEAP student who said that LEAP didn't prepare her student for college. The district also told you about a student who said he wished he could go to a school with sports and dances. You heard my colleague tell you that we have dances at LEAP. The district has told us that the Envision plan is based on data, but these are just anecdotes. On Monday, we were told the district does not have data about how many LEAP students and families feel like they're not receiving a well-rounded education. I've already given you some data about the enrichment opportunities. Here's some data about preparation for college. Just in the last 3 years that I've been there, 2 of our former students are currently being successful at Augsburg College. One is at the University of St. Thomas, one is at Century College, and several are at St. Paul College. One of our current students is a Questbridge national finalist for a scholarship to a competitive college. And I want to thank you for listening to me. I'm not sure if all this stuff was, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Board members, my name is Jean Scow. I am a full-time pre-K science specialist at both Wellstone and St. Paul Music Academy, teaching 100 pre-K students daily for over 10 years. Students do not have to be uprooted to have access to specialists. I hear from parents and colleagues that I am an effective teacher. And even heard this week from a special ed teacher about a student who loves my class and talks about butterflies, caterpillars, and science all day. I have an impact on students, and they do not have to be under one roof to receive a quality science education. There are 113 languages and cultures represented in our schools, and I work hard to learn about all of my students. Every child is important, and I'm not ready to let a percentage of them leave the district if this plan, with so many unanswered questions, is implemented. Here are some questions that were brought up during recent board meetings. Why are families choosing charter schools? What does St. Paul Public Schools need to attract and retain families? What would a larger survey sample show when asking parents why they choose to leave our district? What would we learn if we surveyed our families about what they like about our schools? What would we do if universal pre-K became a reality in the near future and we needed more classrooms? If these questions are not answered, then the proposed plan remains a guess at what families want and would choose. A decision might be made to pursue one avenue when another one might be a better choice. Culture, climate, and compassion are priorities. That was stated recently during a board meeting. But where's the compassion with no buy-in from the community? Not including affected families in this process, St. Paul Public Schools could very well have a large exodus, as the Minneapolis School District did when it executed a similar plan. Parents need to feel their voices are valued, and trust us is not enough. Wellstone does not meet the district's own closure parameters, and for this reason alone, this valued and well-functioning school should not be broken apart to satisfy the enrollment needs of other schools. Because many Wellstone parents do not enroll their children early in the spring, the erroneous conclusion was made that they do not care where their children attend school. Do not mistake this data for apathy from our parents. Signing a child up for school many months in advance is very much a part of white culture, which is not the predominant culture in our school. A better way to judge the value families place on Wellstone would be a satisfaction survey, where you would learn that students and families are connected, involved, and satisfied. There was a lot of time and resources involved in developing this plan, and yes, changes do have to be made to be good stewards of our school, yes. But important questions need to be answered and other options need to be explored before closing a school that does not meet your own closing criteria. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Our next three speakers are Yomiyu Gafesu, Melissa Turk, Kathy Camarina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yomi Yugafasu. I was a former LEAP student. I graduated year 2018, and I'm currently in my last semester of college at Augsburg University, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Biology. When I heard the news that the district was closing LEAP, I said, "Are they joking?" Because for me, LEAP was home. I felt like I belonged, understood, accepted, and appreciated. So I couldn't help but feel angry, frustrated that a door of opportunity was about to be closed for students that look like me. When I came to the US 6 years ago, I felt misplaced, confused, different until I started school at LEAP. The students, the teachers, the staff welcomed me with open arms, helped me master the English language, navigate the life in US, connected me with after-school programs, helped me express myself and tell my stories through the Green Card Voice book, and helped me get into college. Yesterday, I went to LEAP to visit my teachers and see the new students. I was speaking to one of the teacher, and she showed me two new students that started class yesterday. And something I noticed was they were already conversating with other students in the class. You see, that usually don't happen in other schools. And I remember being placed for a summer school at Washington Tech during the summer of my sophomore year, and I hated it. I hated that no one saw me. I felt so insecure about my English that I didn't want to speak or participate. I hated how the students were very disrespectful with teachers and all the fights, because I never felt this way at LEAP. So when you're making this decision the decisions close LEAP, you are misplacing students from their home. Lastly, this morning I read the mission statements and the guiding values of the SPPS, and it says our mission is to inspire students to think critically, pursue their dreams, and change the world. I'm one of many examples, and I was set to be that example by LEAP. The impact of LEAP has made me to be an advocate for myself and others and challenge any oppositions and to never give up on my passion and dreams. Soon I will be applying for a graduate school to do my master's in public health and physician assistant. That wouldn't happen if it wasn't for LEAP. So if you're leading and acting by your mission statements and guiding values, then you will not close a school that's having their students critically think, pursue their dreams, and challenge the world. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Yomi.
Good evening, board. My name is Melissa Turk, and I have been a teacher at Wellstone Elementary since 2004. Wellstone is the first and only school that I've worked at. Since my first year at Wellstone, I have gotten married, had children, and after the birth of my second child in 2014, my family moved to a new house. My family made choices, but one choice I didn't want to make was to change districts or schools. I decided to drive 50 miles round trip each day. That's about 40-minute commute, twice a day. Add in Minnesota winters and the time doubles. There were many times I told myself I've had enough of the long drive and many hours spent away from my young children, but I kept on. I still keep on doing the drive 7 years later. I continue to make the commute each day because Wellstone is my family. It is the place where I belong. There are hard days and there are days I cry and want to quit, but I keep coming back to the people I work with, the smiling children, the families I've had the privilege to serve over the past 17 years. We have parents choosing to send their children to Wellstone because they attended Wellstone themselves as children. The BioSmart side of the school is a citywide program, and our dual immersion program serves several areas of St. Paul. This means most of our most vulnerable and mobile families can continue to receive busing to our school, making our school one thing that is stable in their young lives. Families choose our school because our staff and because they hear good things about the things we do. Students are our focus and students come first. We have always provided wraparound services for all of our students and families. Over my tenure at Wellstone, we have faced a lot of adversity. The districts had added and changed programs under our roof, but we've always remained one school, one focus, one community. When I began 17 years ago, we were a small monolingual school in downtown St. Paul. Over the years, we merged with Homecroft, added our own dual immersion program first, and we figured it out. Then, as part of the Strong Schools, Strong Community initiative, Wellstone Elementary was moved into the Washington Middle School building on Rice Street. Besides moving buildings, our school was named or received the BioSmart term. We received some funding from the district so classroom teachers and the science specialists could work to determine what BioSmart would look like in an elementary school. For the first few years, we had partnerships and extra field trips, but then over the years, the funding kind of went away. But all students at Wellstone received the science education, as well as the language immersion, world cultures, and a shared school focus. I have worked at Wellstone long enough to see that we are one school. We all do better when we all do better. I ask you tonight, how can you do better?
Thank you, Melissa. Sorry, for speakers who have signed up for public comment but are not here, I will loop back and call your name. Next three speakers are Lang Darby, Julian Kaval-Bean, and Shelby Steinman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darby Lang, and I'm in my second year as the art teacher at Leap High School. Thank you, honored board members and district leadership. Thank you to the members of my community and all the school communities that are here tonight. Thank you.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm asking the St. Paul School Board to vote no to the Envision SPPS plan because Leap High School should not be closed. The data and the presentations about the Envision SPPS plan represent SPPS elementary and middle schools. It does not correlate with what is true about Leap High School. Leap is an ALC, Alternative Learning Center, that serves students aged 14 to 21. LEAP students are new to the United States, learning English for the first time. LEAP gets its students from SPPS Placement Center. LEAP student numbers are not influenced by the number of children born in St. Paul. Our numbers are influenced by immigration. LEAP already models the Envision SPPS plan. LEAP students learn in small classes with a supportive staff, a proven ESL curriculum, a well-rounded school experience. Students at LEAP embrace belonging, learn English, build global friendships, celebrate who they are, and complete their high school diploma to become community leaders in a variety of ways. Instead of closing this innovative program offered through our district, I would encourage you to have the courage and wisdom to invest more generously in supporting LEAP and our newest community members. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Darby.
Good afternoon, board directors and superintendent and other administrators. My name is Julianne Qualbein, and I am a former St. Paul Public Schools teacher and administrator. On October 14th, I sent you all a letter urging you to consider the ramifications, both legally and socially, of closing Leap High School. Only one of you responded to my letter, and some of you have visited the school to see firsthand how important this school is to our students and the future of St. Paul. You also received a follow-up letter on October 21st after the October 19th meeting. I know you are all inundated with information about this proposed school issue and understand your time, as well as ours, is valuable. I also offered to set up a meeting with a couple of board directors and attorneys from the Southern Minnesota Regional Legal Services, SMERLS, who could inform you more fully about the Latino Consent Decree, LCD, which is still a valid and legally binding contract. There was no response to this offer. If you were to approve the proposed changes for LEAP students, it would be just a matter of time when other language groups would demand more specific services as those in the LCD. In 1978, I was a member of the school district group which developed the LCD guidelines. In 2018, I had the honor of serving as substitute principal for 3 months at Leap High School. Since then, I have been very involved with the school and its services. I urge you to listen carefully to the speakers tonight, which will give you a very real picture of what will happen to the district and its students if this measure passes. LEAP has already started enrolling Afghani immigrants, and many are sure to follow. This is only November, so we know the population at LEAP will only increase during the rest of the school year due to more immigrants being resettled in St. Paul and the historically resulting secondary migration. As others will tell you, there are many EL students in St. Paul high schools who will qualify for ALC services once they turn 21. Those students cannot receive such services at non-ALC sites in the district, and the most logical placement for them would be at LEAP. LEAP and Gateway administrators are in constant communication about students' academic and language levels and finding the ALC program that best suits their needs. Many students at LEAP will tell you they tried to attend other high schools, but they could not survive there and would have dropped out or worse if they had not had LEAP as a home and safety net. I urge you to stop this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne.
My name is Shelby Steinman, and I am a second grade teacher on the BioSmart side of Wellstone. This is my 10th school year here. I've been making the drive to school from my house in St. Louis Park for the last 10 school years. Even when it snows and I'm in my car for 2.5 hours driving home, crying a little bit because I just want to get home to my own kids, I've never thought twice about teaching anywhere else. As the only Jewish teacher at Wellstone, I have a strong connection to Paul Wellstone, who was also Jewish, an important figure in the Minnesota Jewish community. Each time I share I work at Wellstone or someone sees me in my school gear, I get comments about how wonderful it is to work at a school with his name, and I feel honored to be working at a school that carries his legacy and beliefs through our teaching. I heard when listening to the meeting on Monday that Wellstone is basically two programs in one building, and this could not be further from the truth. Prior to the conversations about our school with an Envision, we never considered ourselves separate schools. We simply teach in different languages. We collaborate daily across each grade, across English and Spanish, together to create engaging, relevant, and differentiated instruction that meets the needs of all of our learners. I know many families love Wellstone because they're able to choose between both programs within their own family. I currently have a student, and most years I have at least one or more students who have siblings in the dual immersion classes, but they're in the BioSmart program. Parents love being able to have that choice for their students without having to send them to separate buildings. The staff at our school work tirelessly together to build relationships with students and make our school a place that feels safe and welcoming. This fall, after in-person learning returned, I further realized the importance of the strong and diverse community at Wellstone. We truly are a place where students feel safe and valued. Closing Wellstone will not only harm our students and families, but all of our staff who love our students as if they are their own. The news today of changing the Envision Plan vote to December has just made this even more unbearable. We already are not sleeping at night and having the weight of the closure on our shoulders on top of teaching in a pandemic. Wellstone is a unique and special community that cannot be replaced.
Thank you, Shelby. All right, next three speakers are Robert Yarbrough, Fardosa Hussein, Paul Gore.
Good evening, school board members, Dr. Guthert. My name is Robert Yarbrough. I'm here to support of Envision and SPPS, and I would like to applaud the other parents and share in their support as well. I'm here to express my concerns regarding some recent disturbing findings when a certain elementary school that needs to be addressed. My wife and I submitted a letter of concern to the principal and superintendent just a month ago today with zero response. As a lifelong tax-paying resident of St. Paul and a SPPS attendee, my aim in the next few minutes that I'm afforded is express a sense of urgency regarding the school system that's set up to fail these kids, especially young students of color. This particular magnet school with an overall niche grade of C, with C in academics and a teacher's grade of C, certainly has some opportunities of growth, to say the least. But what my family endured in the opening months of the school year was not sustainable for learning, forward thinking, and thriving. First, we found out through speaking to a faculty member, that the school decided with no communication to us parents that they are teaching well beyond, below standard grade levels, which explains why my son couldn't articulate his daily learning activity. My son was subjected to both emotional and physical abuse from other students that were transferred to his class from a split in the classroom due to a teacher shortage. My son's daily accounts revealed an environment not favorable to learning. He was constantly distracted by taunts from other kids cursing at him, his teacher, and other kids in the classroom. On multiple occasions, he shared similar stories of kids fighting at their teachers in class, hallways, and recess. Speaking to other parents that had been on site, confirming our fears of major challenges that were not addressed by the school principal, kids were allowed to roam the hallways during class time, allowed to play video games, not utilizing class time, And one of the one of the parents heard one of the faculty members openly state that I don't like working with black kids. The parent that shared that particular sentiment acknowledged and accepted, the principal acknowledged it and accepted it, but there was no action or no reprimand. Where is the accountability, I'm asking, and where's the structure and where's the leadership? In 3 years my child has attended this school, it has suffered a spike in turnover with teachers, including one that I knew and trusted personally. This should require investigation. The change in senior leadership at this school significantly impacted the staffing levels, and I now feel that the kids that remain at this school will be robbed of their potential with no leads, lifelong academic ramifications. In closing, my salient point is that every child should be provided a well-rounded, equal education and not just for some. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robert.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Farzusa Shoria, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight with us. I am very glad to get a chance to speak out for my former school. I stand and disagree for closing Leap High School because Leap is the only place taught me how to speak English language, how to write, and how to read. For where I am today, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't Leap. I wouldn't be Sanctuary College nursing program. When I first arrived, I didn't know how to speak English and how to reply back well, except how are you? And I am fine, that's it. Leap opened my eyes when I heard that the district will shut down Leap because of a business. I wouldn't believe it. I couldn't believe. Leap provides everything for immigrant students want: field trips, extra help from Asian teachers after school, gateway college program, night school classes, culture body, where every student celebrate their own culture, and fun activities. And also, I would like to say that LEAP should not be charged for the students after graduation if they want to continue their education or not. They are adults and they make their own choices. Thank you.
Thank you, Fort Arsa.
Good evening. My name is Paul Gore, and I'm here to address the Envision SPPS plan and the recommendations to close LEAP High School, where I've been teaching since 1999. LEAP already meets the stated criteria for a well-rounded school, but what's more is that LEAP is unique in its role as an ALC school that provides all-day English instruction to teenage and early 20s immigrant and refugee students. Closing LEAP would effectively remove the alternative that immigrant high school students have. Alternative school sites would still exist for US-born native English speakers, but not for refugees and other immigrants who are learning English. Closing LEAP would remove a safe environment for students who have experienced or witnessed violence or other trauma. It's worth noting that since returning to in-person education last April, LEAP has had no fights, no assaults, no suspensions, no vandalism or other property damage. Students respond when they feel that their school is truly a place that is for them. Much of the Envision SPPS plan deals with under-enrolled schools, but there was no apparent consideration of how enrollment at a school for immigrants may have been influenced and affected by national immigration policies since 2017. I'm sure that the Envision SPPS plan did not set out to be part of a ripple effect of these intentionally cruel immigration policies, yet the unintentional consequences remain nonetheless. And the immigration picture is changing. You've heard about the new students that came from Afghanistan. Those are some of 26 students who have started at LEAP since the first day of school. Those might seem like small numbers, but out of our stated enrollment of 144 students, that represents an 18% increase in just over 2 months of school. This is not the time to close an all-day alternative site where the staff is trained to work with students who have experienced trauma, or students who have limited or interrupted schooling, or some combination of all of those factors. Instead of closing LEAP, our district should reconsider its student placement practices to identify the students who are most likely to thrive in a smaller setting. The students who will benefit from all-day English instruction, the students who are likely to take more time to earn a diploma. These are the students who should be encouraged to attend LEAP. ALC sites will soon be able to enroll students through the year in which they turn 22. This additional year of school will be a great benefit for ELL and SLIFE students who are in their mid to late teens. It will allow for more continuity in attending school and allow more students to earn a diploma. LEAP makes our district as a whole more well-rounded. Offering educational alternatives makes our district more responsive and able to reach more St. Paul residents. I applaud your decision to postpone the vote on the Envision SPPS plan, and the increased time will allow decisions to be made in a more respectful, inclusive, and equitable way.
Thank you, Paul. Next three speakers are Nabu, William Palmer, Abdi Barkat.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abdi Barkat. I live St. Paul in the last 20 years, Highwood Hill neighborhood area. St. Paul is the home of the second largest Somali community in the state of Minnesota after Minneapolis. Somalis moved to the Highwood Hills area more than 2 decades. The school produces a lot of young talents. Some of them are doctors, some of them are U.S. Army, some of them are professionals, some of them are software developers. Closing the Highwood Hills will displace many families in St. Paul, and they will move in different places, like me, who decided to move a different place if that school closed, because 2 of my beautiful kids go to that school. The school has high and quality education, and teachers are good, but closing is a wrong decision. We are asking school board members to investigate the placement center. Many families or parents told the waiting list is full, and now they claiming the enrollment is very low, which is disagree. School members, the placement center. So what I'm saying to you, we are considering to file, if you guys decide to close that school, a lawsuit file case in the U.S. District Court because the school is discriminating its students because they are black Muslim immigrants, and that they will agree with us. We already met our lawyers, and that we have a good case to know that if you close. I don't want you guys to close and ask you to vote that school. Most of you who sit here, they came to us when they were running a school board. They told them to endorse. But if they decide to close that, it will affect their political careers and they will destroy their lives because we do not trust the public office, whether it's a Senate or a school board or what else. So please vote no for that school because it is a student, black, Muslim, and immigrant. And I ask you, Joe, to investigate the placement center and the people who are messing up that school and other schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi.
Hi, my name is William Palmer, and I am a parent of 2 kids that go to Wellstone Elementary. In the last public hearing, I described how the Envision Plan ignores and manipulates the data. In the last virtual public information session, I again asked for data about financial impact of the plan and about the risk analysis. They kindly explained that closing the schools isn't about money, it's about efficiency, without explaining what then is being saved by efficiency. They explained that this was all about enrollment and that they get revenue for each student, without explaining how the changes that will certainly drive some of the students out of the district are supposed to improve enrollment. They said they didn't have numbers in front of them, so I could email them for details later. They entirely ignored my question about risk and pretended it was never asked. When I followed up with an email, they sent me the same general explanation without details. I asked the board, have they provided you with those details? Their behavior is that of a student who didn't do their homework and is now trying to bluff their way through their presentation. And now they're asking for an extension, 2 weeks to engage the community, which they have ignored for years. After they have stressed how important it was to get this done quickly so parents have time to make their choices. In short, there are so many questions and so few answers about this plan, I beg you to send it back. Tell the district they need to repeat a year. Spend the time doing the research and come back with a workable plan with community support. One that doesn't close unique programs like LEAP, or isolate communities like Highwood Hills, or shut down sustainable and well-rounded schools like Wellstone. Directors, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Wilman.
Hello, school board. My name is Dabu, and I teach first grade at Wellstone. I'm Korean, and before getting my teaching license, I was a bilingual EA at SPPS. At Wellstone, our leaders have made a culture where we all support each other and understand each other. I know that the staff and leaders care and want me to grow, even though my first language is not English. We give the same support to our students and families that we give to each other on staff. It would not be easy to find the support and diversity we have at Wellstone at other schools. The families at our school had been told that they would be okay if Wellstone closes. But we are okay at Wellstone right now. In my first grade classroom, I have a diverse group of learners. They come from different cultures and backgrounds and speak different languages. We learn about and celebrate different culture at Wellstone. For example, in October, we had a parade to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. My class walked behind a dual immersion class where many of the students speak Spanish. My students were just as excited to celebrate as the DN classes, knowing we are all a Wellstone family. My students joined the chant in Spanish. They heard the DN students repeating even though most of them do not speak Spanish at home. The differences in our programs make us stronger and learn better together. Later this year, we will celebrate many other groups of people that are represented at Wellstone. It is so beautiful to see students learning about and celebrating the wide variety of cultures we have at Wellstone. DI and bio classes work hand in hand to make our school the best. It can be by sharing ideas and resources and our culture with each other. Our families feel like they are in good hands at Wellstone. They choose Wellstone. They feel safe and supported. Why would we close this school if it is working for so many? If Wellstone closes, our family going to need a lot of support to find in their new school. I hope the district is ready to have speakers of many languages at the placement center. A full bilingual staff will be needed to be ready to help these families who will feel scared and confused and unsure of what to do. All they will know that is Wellstone will no longer be home for their children. Our families are going to struggle. I think some families will choose charter school that feel safer for them. They will choose charter school that they are close to their homes when they can dial a number and get someone that speak their language to help them. In Korean culture, we follow the leaders. We follow the leaders even if we don't agree with them because we have to. But this is America, and the Korean families deserve better. They deserve to hear the truth and be treated fairly by leaders, even though they may not have the education or know what the question to be asking right now. When the parents struggle with transportations or romance or technology, they are not going to call evasion team or the district office. They are going to call us, the bilingual teachers and EAs. When the district makes wrong choices, hmm? Oh, can I finish it?
If you can wrap it up quickly, go ahead.
When the district make wrong choices, they do not get hurt or struggle. The families are those who have to struggle. School board members, I'm asking you to think smart about this vote. Think about our families and the stress this will bring if they need to find a new school for the children. The families chose you as leaders because they trust you. Now is the time to listen to the families and show them that you care. We know no school are perfect, but beautiful things are happening at Wellstone. Thank you.
Thank you, Noam. Right, ready for our next three speakers? Next three speakers are Nicole Orvis, Dara Jamal, Carmen Velasco.
Hello, my name is Dara Jamal, and I'm in first grade. And I just want to say, please open Wellstone, and please don't close Wellstone because I like Wellstone a lot.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you, Dara.
I gotta tell you, I see those girls at the drop-off line, and they are always the best dressed. So I'd listen to them. Okay. All right. So board members, thank you very much. My name is Nicole. I'm a parent of two. We're new to the Wellstone community. My son, my eldest, started pre-K this fall in the Spanish immersion program. We are a bicultural family with in a multicultural bilingual community school. We are a part of the Wellstone community. Wellstone is rich and vibrant because of its students, teachers, and staff. We all come from diverse backgrounds, racially, ethnically, culturally, socioeconomically. To quote Malcolm Forbes, diversity is the art of thinking independently together, and that is what makes us uniquely wise and deeply connected community. We are more than a sum of our parts. We are a living, breathing ecosystem, a family, a home place, a safe place to grow and to learn. And here we are, before you now, letting you know that our living, breathing system has an invaluable function in the lives of our young learners. Orson Scott Card once said, "Every person is defined by the community they belong to." This is our home. And with our diversities on one hand, and our Wellstone community, and our Wellstone identities on the other, we walk hand in hand together toward a vibrant future with our students. In the words of Brene Brown, no one belongs here more than us. We come to you together as a family to share our voices, pleading with you to let us remain. I look up at all of you, a diverse crew yourself, all located on different points of identity intersectionality, all with a passion for our students and our city. No matter where your intersectionality of privilege and power lies personally, you have a distinct level of privilege and power in this room over our lives. As my mother so very annoyingly used to say, with privilege comes responsibility. Our future is in your hands, and I ask you to listen with your hearts as you weigh this decision with your minds. In the words of our namesake, the late, great Mr. Paul Wellstone, there is a major ingredient missing from our perception of how changes are brought about, and that ingredient is power. What is your legacy on this board? How will you use your power? Your position is all about bridging the gap between people that you serve, SPSS, within SPSS and its administration. So I ask of you today to truly listen. Let it weigh on you a bit. Instead of think, I ask you to feel, because in the words of Coretta Scott King, the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate acts of its members. Whether you see it or not, you are part of our extended community, and we are asking you to use your power to protect us.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, our next speakers. Next speakers are Brianna Greer, Rory Mahoney, Madeline Herr.
Envision SPPS requests to meet community needs in partnership with the American Indian community.
It is with honor and privilege that the St. Paul Indians in Action, SIA, provide this letter in support of the St. Paul area's American Indian Community Center Collaboratives Partnership, AICCCP, request to be considered a site for the St. Paul Public Schools Board of Education's Envision SPPS. St. Paul Indians in Action is a network of American Indian organizations in St. Paul dedicated to advocating for our community, recognized and respected leadership renowned for our ability to transcend the voices of our communities into action plans that benefit our people and strive to serve as a catalyst for the advocacy and changes needed to protect the best interests of our Native communities and associations. The American Indian community possesses a strong cultural determination, resiliency, and kinship that has sustained our indigenous community for generations. The American Indian community in St. Paul demonstrates these strengths despite their struggles with persistent multi-generational poverty rooted in a long history of systemic racism and public policies designed to weaken familial and community connections, erase traditional cultural values and practices, and make us invisible. The impacts of systemic racism and harmful policies have unraveled entire American Indian communities over time. As a result, American Indians experience tremendous disparities in education, employment, and income that contributes to alarmingly high incidences of chronic disease, mental illness, and substance abuse that tear families apart. Although policies forcing American Indian children to attend boarding schools and banning traditional religion have ended, the multi-generational trauma and its manifestation of mental illness and substance abuse continues to erode families in our communities. American Indian children in Minnesota are 5 times more likely to be reported as victims of abuse than white children and 10 times more likely to end up in foster care. Studies demonstrate that American Indian children in foster care experience chronic absenteeism, low graduation rates, and are more likely to be incarcerated as adults. The AICCCP emerged from the tireless work of community-based organizations dedicated to strengthening and supporting American Indian children, youth, and their families. The AICCCP includes the American Indian Family Center, Montessori American Indian Child Care Center, and the Department of Indian Work of Interfaith Action of Greater St. Paul. Working together and in partnership with the St. Paul Public Schools American Indian Education Program in the Anda Young Center, these organizations are making strides in disrupting the cycles of trauma, substance abuse, mental illness, and chronic health issues that keep our community in poverty homeless, and incarcerated at higher rates than any other population. By sharing knowledge and resources through a collective impact model, the partners channel the assets of the American Indian community to address the challenges we face. The organizations provide intersecting comprehensive services that address social determinants of health, benefiting and supporting the community at all stages of life, designed and implemented through the American Indian cultural framework, resulting in the address the roots socioeconomic causes contributing to poor health and outcomes for the American Indians. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Brianna.
Good evening, Board of Directors. My name is Madeline Herr, and I am a 7th grader at Parkway Montessori Middle School. It has been a difficult year when I was in 6th grade as a distance learner. I was very excited to start my 7th grade year at Parkway in person with my friends and my teachers who care so deeply about our education. Tonight, I am asking for you to vote no on St. Paul's Envision Plan. It would affect so many of us because we would have to find new schools and be away from our friends and teachers. Finding a new school is not an answer because I love being a Montessori student, and right now we will have no Montessori program for any middle schoolers. I worry that my friends who live in the neighborhood around Parkway will find it harder to get transportation to their new schools. My teachers have been teaching there for so long, and they care so much about us and our education more than anything. Envision St. Paul will not help us to learn or find any new things and opportunities to learn. If the Montessori program is eliminated, I ask you again on our behalf at the Parkway student staff and families to listen to our voices, work with us, and keep the Montessori middle school program at Parkway. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Rory Mahoney, and I'm a 5th grade student at Paul and Sheila Wilson Elementary. People say that Wilson Elementary is a community, but I think more than that, Wilson is a family. And just to be given the opportunity to be part of that family is a great experience. If that family died, it would be sad, not because it would affect my education, but because it would to others. I want other kids to have the same experience and opportunity I have, because Wellston is not just a community, it's a family. Yo quiero, yo quiero, yo quiero que todos los niños tengan la misma experiencia y oportunidad que yo tengo, porque Wellston no es solo una comunidad, Wellston es una gran familia. Muchas gracias por escucharme. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Rory. At this time, we're going to break. We will break at this time. Time is 7:06. We will reconvene at 7:16. Time is 7:16. Time is 7:16, and we are reconvening.
Oh.
Next three speakers are Dave List, Christy Nelson, Mike Nelson. Again, if the speakers are not here right now, I will circle back to them. Next three speakers are Carol Kuzniarek, Molly Packard, Janice LaFaux.
Come on. Second one up. They're, I think they're going to call them again because they're not here.
All right. Last time I made a public comment on this hastily made, poorly communicated, and poorly constructed plan, I told everyone that Wellstone is not two separate schools. I told you that our dual immersion and BioSmart programs share staff, resources, and classes. This time I want to expand on that point. The first piece of evidence that we are not two separate schools is that we share staff. We share all of our specialist teachers, including world music, dance, science, gym, engineering, programming, typing, and art. We also share our nurse, counselors, behavior specialists, TAs, EAs, countless other supporting staff. Furthermore, the English-speaking classes oftentimes need bilingual staff readily available for students who are learning English as a second language. BioSmart and Dual Immersion are interdependent programs that are stronger together. The second and most relevant piece of evidence to prove that we are not two separate schools is that the BioSmart classes, such as science, engineering, programming, and typing, are not just for the English-speaking students. Our dual immersion students attend these classes too. Do you really want to take that away from them? You really want to take those kids out of those classes? That is what voting yes would do. You would take dual immersion students out of these classes. To me, it looks like this plan is trying to take our dual immersion students and BioSmart students and make their parents pick whether they want a well-rounded Spanish education or a well-rounded science education. Isn't that the opposite of what Envision's supposed plan is? Show me another BioSmart and dual immersion school. Dual immersion and BioSmart combined is a well-rounded education. Right now, I'm begging the board from the bottom of my heart. I'm breaking into tears right now. Don't separate our programs. They belong together.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Janice LaFaux, and I'm the proud mother of two former St. Paul Public School graduates and the mother of a son attending Harding High School. I'm here to speak tonight on behalf of the American Indian Community Center Collaborative. I want to acknowledge that this is a very tough decision, and what you have in front of you is not an easy thing to do. But I also want to present an opportunity. As things are not always easy to accomplish and make decisions around, other things can surface. The opportunity to have access to a large enough space for our community is essential. We have had a vision for a very long time to come together as three agencies in one stop shop location so that our families do not have to find themselves spread out across the city to access important services. What could be an opportunity is to share a space together, and that is what we are here to request and to give some consideration to as you move forward with decision making, that the opportunity and a new door could be opened for how you meet the needs of others in the city of St. Paul in a holistic way
that builds opportunity. And in all of that, you heard a little bit earlier from Anna Greer talk about the long systemic experience. I was here earlier this month to help raise a healing pole right outside this building. And so as we think about what a future can be, I would like you to think about how healing is an important aspect of building relationship. Because healing is more than a now opportunity. You have a very tough decision in front of you, and I would ask that you consider how space can be used and potentially utilized to serve other needs in the community, like in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janice. Next three speakers are Garcia Nelson, Marianne Guerrero, Kristen Mador.
Hi, my name is Gracia Nelson. I'm actually a graduate of St. Paul Public Schools, and I'm a teacher for 11 years at Wellstone Elementary. I teach kindergarten currently. I had taught first grade before in the BioSmart program, and I am speaking to the effect of how our BioSmart program is not just handled within our science programs, and the teachers that like myself and other of my colleagues have done for years, we take every opportunity that we have within our curriculum, and because I have access to the science curriculum or the science standards that Minnesota requires, I can implement that through my reading, writing, and math. And as a collaborative team with other kindergarten teachers across the BioSmart and the dual immersion program, we successfully do teach some of those things within our own classrooms. Do I get funding for that? No. Do I buy things out of my own pocket all the time in order for my classroom to learn in a hands-on experience through life cycles, through having little creatures come to the classroom in order to talk about the things that they're capable of doing, to making food products. This week we were talking about spiders in my kindergarten class, so therefore we ended up having a snack that we could make a spider out of, and we could learn about their 8 legs and implement all of that within our math and reading and writing as well. So my kids were learning how to write expert books about those things, and that is just a small part of how our program is not just handled from the science program that is grossly underfunded, and yet at the same time it's something that we have done for years, and I'm just one of the many that do that on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Gracia.
Hi, my name's Marianne. My concern for closing our school, Wellstone, I speak for the parents, the staff. Why? Why would you consider closing our Wellstone? Children have been going here through pre-K. You were breaking up families, friendships, staff. Tonight, my little third grader, Talia, asked me tonight, please, Mom, save my school. I love my school. What are you going to do with all these empty buildings? Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne.
Hi, my name is Kirsten, and I'm a upper elementary teacher at Cherokee Heights Elementary. And Cherokee Heights is a Montessori community school on the west side. And when I began there about 3.5 years ago, we were partially Montessori and partially traditional. And this is our first year being all Montessori. We can actually call ourselves a Montessori school this year, which is really exciting for us. And I've seen a lot of changes at Cherokee Heights in my 3.5 years. It felt a little chaotic at first when I started there, and it's become much more peaceful. We're all on the same page. It's very cohesive, and we just feel like we're seeing our hard work pay off, and it feels really good. So I guess what I would like to say is that I want you to consider um, keeping Cherokee Heights Montessori. And I know that's a big ask because I can hear that you'd like to consolidate us. But I know I don't think we have a lot of parents speaking up here tonight, but we did have a community meeting a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago at our school. And a lot of parents that didn't choose the school because it was Montessori. They chose it because it's a community school. They talked about how happy their kids were there and how much they love Montessori. And I just feel like our children really deserve that. They deserve Montessori. Montessori is culturally responsive. It teaches children to be independent, and it gives kids choice, and it's rigorous, and it shows that our children the respect they deserve. And I think that Cherokee Heights, that small community school on the west side, deserves to keep Montessori. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, next three speakers are Jamal Ogato, Sandra Mueller, Bharat Sami, Dorsen Siri.
Hello, my name is Sandy Milner. I want to thank the school board and the district administration for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I started my career in biotech. I worked in genetics research and immunology support. And Leap High School pulled me out of that and convinced me to become a teacher. I've been a science teacher at Leap High School. This is my 26th year. And every year has been amazing. Sorry. Part of what makes this so difficult for me to speak is that this process has not seemed very respectful to the students, the families, and the people who are putting in the hard work on the front lines. The district planned and held a meeting that was supposed to be for Leap High School and to have our families and students have a question answer session. During that session, it was demonstrated very clearly to me that the district is not ready to serve the students that we serve at LEAP. The slideshow that you used had irrelevant videos, mostly geared for elementary students. It had statistics about US-born trends in education and population numbers, none of which is relevant to LEAP High School. Also in this meeting, we had a tremendous community support. People were ready to ask questions and wanted answers and information. And all what we got was this question. Well, we just want to know how to help you transition. It really feels like this decision has been made, and it is disingenuous for you to set up these meetings with our families and students where it seems like you're pretending to ask for input. At Leap High School, we have designed a program that was started by St. Paul public school teachers because they saw students falling through the cracks. It was started for students who really wanted to work on their education, where the comprehensive high schools didn't work for them.
Sandra, your time's up.
Good evening, board. I want to acknowledge and thank you for your presence to be here, and thank you for being here to listen. I'm Rasmi Tasangsri, a current student at Bethel University, and I'm here to stand for Lim High School. My question to you is, if you think Lim High School did not have a credible story, then why don't you provide that to Lim High School? And does the system provide enough support for the school and student? Or does Lim High School is the student that SPPS targets for? Research has shown that to be acquire a proficiency in English, you need 5 to 6 years to acquire. And Lim High School provides 4 years for students. And you can see that many students have been successful in their life after attending Lim High School. Attending education help break the poverty cycle, which help prevent many money or fund from government to provide additional program to support poverty. And education help provide the opportunity and break the cycle. Education also help bring dignity to students. To be immigration in this country without education, no one will respect for your dignity. And dignity is one thing that everybody deserves to have it. Two example, Anta Sangster and Iya, they both right now graduate from Lim High School, able to be financial independent, support the system, and support community. What else do we looking for Lim High School? I don't see anything else. We have everything there. I have two things that why we should not close Lim High School. Lim High School provide dignity and opportunity for students. Lim High School give the American dream to Lim High School students and allow them to chase their dream. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rasami. Next three speakers are Sarah Callahan, Annika Larson, and Charlene Cost.
Hi, my name is Sarah Callahan. I'm the proud parent of a fourth grader at Obama Elementary. I'm going to refer to her by her name. Her name is Daniela because she's not a number. She's been one of the students that are at Obama, and she's being serviced by the Fed 3 setting program there. When I heard the plan of Envision to close Obama, honestly, I just sat on my couch and I cried because I know how much of a negative impact it will have on my child. We've only been a part of the school community since the fall of 2020, so we started off in full distance learning. And while many kids across the nation were losing educational gains, my daughter had made immense gains during this year. I watched her from September until February during distance learning, and she worked intensely with a bunch of staff there, reading teachers for intensive reading services, school social workers, the occupational therapist, her general education teacher, and the special ed teacher. And during this time from September to February, she actually increased 4 reading levels. And that's a huge increase for her. Like, that's her worst area of subject. So I was very impressed with the school. And then in February, when we returned from distance learning, the first week back, I got a call from the speech teacher saying that they were qualifying her for speech, which I have been asking for since she's 3 years old. So I felt like this team was really on top of it and servicing her well. I haven't always seen eye to eye with the staff there, but I know that I can call the teachers, that we can set up meetings, and that all of her team will get on board and make a plan together to move forward with Daniela's best interest at hand. Daniela has established bonds with her teachers, and that is so important. She refers to her special education teacher as the endearing term, Mr. Greggy. As a trained social worker and as a special education parent, I will tell you that these Fed 3 students, they need consistency. They need trusting environments where they can feel safe, and they have strong relationships with their staff that they are working with. And closing Obama, you will undermine all of those things that they have going for them there. It will be a detrimental impact to these Fed 3 sitting students. My concerns are shared by other parents. We had sent out a survey a few weeks ago to Obama parents, and they had expressed concerns for the impacts of the special education students, concerns about appropriate placements for BIPOC students, and that Obama's magnet for African American studies was not being transferred to another school. Concerns that the renovations promised to Obama are now being given to the school that you're going to merge there, and that Obama students are not guaranteed a placement at that new setting. At the time that we sent out the survey, 10% of the parents weren't even aware that Obama was slated to be closed. 85% of the parents there are disagreeing with the plan to close Obama. Since it seems to be all about numbers, we also asked about the 21 school year plan, and about 23% of the parents had expressed that they will leave the district. Please consider not to close Obama.
Thank you, Sarah.
Good evening, members of the board. Good evening to everyone who is here. I am so grateful to every single person, every community member, every parent, every family member, every kid, every staff person who is showing up right now. So thank you. I'm here to represent Wellstone Elementary today. Schools are organic. Schools need time, they need effort, and they need special conditions to flourish. A school community cannot be decreed from on high. It has to be built from below. A strong, welcoming culture is not created by tabulating the correct number of students on a spreadsheet. A positive climate does not spring forth from slicing a student body into convenient segments. Let's talk about well-rounded schools, because that was the point of Envision. For a start, it means giving students access to a variety of academic subjects, which Wellstone does. We have more than 550 students. Wellstone provides art, gym, science, world cultures, technology and coding, engineering, and dance. But this only scratches the surface of what well-rounded means. Well-rounded means attending to the needs of the whole child. Well-rounded means meeting their social emotional needs, providing connection through a community of educators who know each student, who know each student's family. Sometimes even taught that students' parents in the very same school. Families specifically seek out Wellstone because they hear from other families that their child will be loved and embraced there. Well-rounded means staying connected to SPED teachers, school support professionals, EL teachers who provide continuity for students who are struggling. Well-rounded means helping our students understand our state community and its rich diversity. Students in BioSmart and dual immersion classes often have different home languages, but by being in community together, students form strong bonds and deepen their understandings of other cultures as well as their own. Well-rounded means embedded in the larger community, connecting with neighbors, partnering with businesses, sharing students with the rec center, finding help for those who have food insecurity, connecting to trusted interpreters for families who don't speak English. Wellstone has deep roots in the North End, and these roots in turn nourish our students. Our school is a well-rounded school, and more importantly, it's a thriving, loving community of over 500 kids. The decision of who to entrust your baby with is one that no parent takes lightly. Listen to the parents of over 500 kids. Keep Wellstone thriving. Thank you.
Thank you, Annika.
Hi, my name is Charlene Cost, and I've been an MLL teacher at Wellstone since it was Saturn in the year 2000. I'd like to highlight three main reasons that I want to keep Wellstone Elementary open. The first reason is that Wellstone Elementary is a positive place for children and families on the north end of St. Paul. The school is a safe place for kids in an area of the city that can be very unsafe. The teachers at Wellstone go above and beyond just teaching the curriculum. The teachers care for the students by nurturing and loving them. So many wonderful things are happening at Wellstone every day. It is helping to build a sense of community and belonging that without the school there may not possibly exist. The second reason is Paul Wellstone's legacy is important and being carried out at this school daily. Paul Wellstone stood for the people. He helped to give a voice to people who did not have a voice. He wanted people to make the world a better place. Our school was specially chosen, among others in the district, to get the name of Paul and Sheila Wellstone Elementary. because our students represented the people who Paul Wellstone fought for in politics. Our school has always drawn students from lower socioeconomic levels, diverse students, and mostly immigrant families who do not speak English as their first language. The school is making a difference in these students' lives and helping to make the world a better place. Paul believed we all do better when we all do better. The third reason to keep Wellstone open is because the SPPS Envision plan for Wellstone Elementary is not a good plan, and it did not include staff or families in the decision-making process. By closing Wellstone, I believe many of our Spanish immersion students will choose immersion programs in surrounding districts or charter schools. The BioSmart students from Wellstone won't be benefiting by attending another science school. Currently, Wellstone offers science and engineering classes to all students. In addition, we have art, world cultures, dance, physical education, and technology courses for all students. We have a nurse, social workers, counselors, behavior specialists, a strong MLL team. Our school is already providing a well-rounded education, and with proper funding from the district, we can start having all students participate in field trips too. In conclusion, I believe Wellstone Elementary should stay open because it is shining light in the north end of St. Paul. It's carrying out Paul Wellstone's legacy, and the SPPS Envision plan is just not right for Wellstone. I'd like to close with a quote from Paul Wellstone. He said, "A politics that is not sensitive to the concerns and circumstances of people's lives, a politics that does not speak to and include people is an arrogant politics that deserves to fail." This plan is not sensitive to the lives of the people at Wellstone, and it's probably going to hurt more people than.
Thank you, Charlene. Next three speakers are Mauricio Lopez, Gustavo Rosso, Michelle Chang.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cruz Lopez, and I work as an interpreter in the health field, and I help a lot of people with language barriers. And that makes me realize how important it is to speak more than one language. And I'm proud husband of a teacher at the SPPS, and a proud father of a fourth grader at Wellston Elementary. And we found Wellston Elementary a great blessing because it gives our children the opportunity to learn more than just one language for their futures opportunities. And just remember that by closing elementary, Wellston Elementary is just you're not just closing a school, but you're just frustrating the dreams of our kids. So think about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Chang. I work for the Coalition of Asian American Leaders. I'm here because Asian students are the largest student population in St. Paul public schools, and we have worked closely with Asian families in the district since our founding. We strongly urge you to stand with the community in voting no on the Envision plan until further deeper community engagement has been completed. Such a critical decision as this must be done with a deep commitment to the students and families that have chosen to stay with SPPS. Choosing to close schools without deep, intentional, and accessible community engagement will only add to the declining enrollment. Additionally, the schools that are proposed to be closed are in predominantly Black, Indigenous, Asian, and Latinx neighborhoods. This does not align with the SPPS strategic plan, which explicitly calls out decreasing disparities in achievement based on race, ethnicity, culture, and identity. Closing schools in predominantly Black, Indigenous, Asian, and Latinx neighborhoods will only further widen the achievement gap. We know that SPPS shares our goal of making sure that students excel, and we urge you to work with the impacted community to create a plan that includes the community's vision for SPPS by voting no on the SPPS and vision plan. And for the rest of my time, I am going to speak on behalf of a parent who couldn't make it today. Good evening. My name is Muhe. I have lived in St. Paul for 9 years. I am a mother of 2 beautiful children who attend Wellstone School. Pausher is in 2nd grade and Paul Wei is in pre-K. I also have a 10-month-old baby. My children absolutely love their school, friends, and teachers. They were so excited to go to school this year. I had not seen them that happy in a while. When we learned very suddenly and recently about the possibility of our school being closed, it was shocking and devastating. How could these decisions be made without us? I am not usually a person to speak up. For many years, I have followed and done what others have told me to do. From having to leave my home country of Burma to living in a refugee camp in Thailand to settling in the US, I followed what others thought was best for me. But today is different. It is my children and my community that I have built over the last 3 years that brings me here. My daughter said to me the other day, "Mommy, please save my school." And while it is very difficult for me to speak up today, I had to do this because it is what my family needs. We have a community at Wellstone, and tearing us apart so suddenly without our considerations and feedback is wrong. The students, parents, and teachers of Wellstone and other SPPS schools need their needs matter. Making this decision about us and without us is not a good strategy. So I ask you to vote no to this SPPS and vision plan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, next three speakers. Next three speakers are Lyric Higgins, Michelle Higgins, Ursurku Gay.
Hi, my name is Lyric, and I have been at Obama since I was in preschool. And, and Obama is like a second home to me. I love my teachers that I've had, even the ones who have left. I don't know about the other schools, but here my teachers know me and care about me and my friends. My teachers always give us a second chance. Most schools would just send you to the office and you get in trouble, but not here. We get second chances and talk things through and get chances to make better choices even when we don't deserve it. Our teacher our teachers always make sure we do the right thing, even when that means doing things over and over to get it right. I would want to stay in my school and with all my friends for 8th grade and even high school in our building, because we are family and we should get to stay together. We would want to have new friends come, but we don't want to lose our home. I love Obama and I wouldn't want to shut it down for $1 million, $2 or $3. Please don't vote to close my school and separate my family. I think there is a better way to help solve the problem, and I would be willing to help you. So I don't lose my family. Thank you for listening to my voice. Do you have any questions with the rest of my time?
I'm gonna give them your thing, okay?
Thank you, Lyric.
I'm supposed to follow that, right? My name is Michelle Higgins, and my granddaughter is a 4th grader at Obama, or as she calls it, Michelle Obama and her husband's school. She's been there since preschool. And although I love Obama, my main primary concern with Envision SPPS is that it's unnecessary, displacing, and traumatizing our Black children. To close Obama and J.J. Hill, both of which are located in the Rondo neighborhood, is inexcusable. This plan causes unnecessary trauma to not only our students and our families, but to our community, which has already suffered generations of trauma, inexplicable trauma, years of gentrification that have left our community virtually unrecognizable to those of us who grew up there. How long does this community need to suffer at the hands and plans of larger entities claiming that they know what's best for us and for our children? And I'm not saying that the responsibility for this community and for our children lays with SPPS solely, but what I'm saying is that you need to think about the message that you're sending to our children and our community. You can't shuffle our children around like chess pieces and expect that they're going to be just fine no matter where you put them, no matter where they land. Doesn't matter how well-rounded your education is, our children cannot learn when they're traumatized. At Obama, we have a saying, every child, every chance, every day. At Obama, every child matters. And what Envision SPPS is saying, what they're telling our Black children is that they don't matter. Or at least they don't matter as much as the white children who will be coming into that building after them. The predominantly white children who will be getting a brand new building, a brand new elementary school, a brand new middle school that most of them will not be able to attend. You know what happens to children who believe that they don't matter? They have behavior issues. They bully each other. They drop out of school or they get kicked out of school, start using drugs. They disengage completely. They start carjacking people. They go to jail, start shooting each other for no damn reason. They die. Sound dramatic? It's dramatic. But all you have to do is look around these cities to see what happens to children who believe they don't matter. And we can't afford to lose any more of our children, our young people, to the streets because someone has told them they don't matter.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay. Next three speakers are Anna Greer, Kulia Pringle, Tanya Drawn. Sorry, it's Anna Greer, Kulia Pringle, Tanya Drawn.
Tanea Brown. That's okay. I am an Obama parent. I'm Lyric's mom. And although we're not slated to be closed, we're basically being colonized. You're taking our school. You're taking our name. You're taking our building. I am somebody. I am capable and lovable. I am teachable. Therefore, I can learn. I can do anything if I try. I will be the best I can be each day, each day, each day. This is the call and response that our scholars do with each other at the beginning of every day at Obama. This is the affirmation our babies get every day before they start their learning. My daughter's been at Obama since she was 4 years old. She just turned 10. When she walks in that building, she's greeted by name by multiple staff members. Not only do they greet my child by name, they greet the rest of our scholars by name. They know our scholars so well, they can tell by looking at them who's having an off morning and may need a little extra love. Every child, every chance, every day. This is the motto that's all over our building, from shirts to signs and printed materials. As a scholar at Obama, you don't just get your actions held against you. You get time to decompress, be heard, and process how to do better next time. I can't count the number of times I've heard staff tell scholars, today's a new day. When Jackie Turner said that decisions were being made on numbers and not emotions, that was the stupidest shit I'd ever heard. If you work with kids and have no emotions about it, you don't need to be working with or speaking for kids. This well-rounded education that keeps being thrown around leaves no room for emotional safety and well-being of our scholars. Obama is a strong, tight-knit family because of our emotions. Our babies feel safe and loved, and that is key to learning. You can't learn if you ain't secure. You can't be secure if your family and home is being ripped away from you and you're sent off into uncertainty to fend for yourself. One of our staff members pointed out that our school is full of relatives, cousins, siblings, sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, grandchildren. My daughter has 2 cousins there herself. Families choose to send their children to Obama because they know not only is it a good, safe environment that their children will be nurtured and supported in, but also because they're literally family. I need you all to put your emotions back into this process and find a solution that puts our babies' safety and emotional well-being first, instead of displacing them with emotionless, good luck, hope things go well for you. Keep our scholars in their building instead of just giving away their building, their home, their name, their safety, and leaving them hurt and homeless.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kulia Pringle, Midwest Regional Organizer for National Parents Union, also a Bright Beam activist, and also a proud graduate of St. Paul Public Schools. I'm here tonight. I'm going to keep my speech short. I've already made my statement public. I just wanted to say that I've learned a few things. I held a community listening sessions for families, and I've also spoken with the families, Black families specifically, who are facing school closure. And what I've learned is, one, that through my Latinx partners, that well-rounded education does not translate literally, and so trying to explain what that is has been difficult. It also doesn't translate in English. When speaking to Black families, they're like, well, what the hell have they been receiving up until this point? So well-rounded education does not translate, and somebody stated earlier, communication matters. I think the district has been trying to explain what they're trying to do in your language, and you're not trying to explain to people what you're trying to do in their language. So again, quick, I just wanted to say that National Parents Union, the Midwest region states of families that are part of National Parents Union, as well as Puerto Rico families, stand in solidarity with families and students here in Minnesota who are fighting to keep their schools open. Thank you.
Thank you, Julio.
Good evening. My name is Tonya John. I'm kind of buck the trend, so I just recently put my children back into St. Paul Public Schools, coming from a charter school, to find out this is what they're facing. Fortunately, the schools I placed them in are not closing, but it leads me to wonder what happens next. What happens next? So one of the questions I want to ask you is, what about the schools that have a demographic that look different than Obama, different than J.J. Hill, different from Jackson? What about those white schools that have low enrollment? How come they're not closing? How come they're not being forced to merge with our schools to make our schools better? The other thing I want to say, I was at the listening session with Kulia. I am also a delegate for the Minnesota, or for the National Parent Union, and parents don't understand what you're doing. They don't. They're confused. They face trauma for the last couple of years, and the last thing they want to do is have their student move to somewhere where they don't understand where they're going or why adults are making the move. So I wanted to encourage you to listen to the families, encourage you to switch it up. Choose not to close the schools that you chose to close. Figure out a different way to do it. There's many different learning models that you can take advantage of that you have talked about in the past. I encourage you to go back and look at your past, why you made these community schools in the first place, and change your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. All right, next 3 speakers are Joe Nathan, La Hui, Jessica Kuhlander.
Thank you. This is my 51st year in St. Paul as a public school teacher, administrator in this district, a PTA parent, a parent of 3 youngsters who graduated from the St. Paul Public Schools, one of whom is a teacher in this district. We have 5 granddaughters in this district. I have worked all over the United States, and I am embarrassed. So I want to ask a couple of questions, and I want to make a couple of suggestions. The first is that several of you said to me, what's your alternative? Because you said, we have a plan that's been proposed, it's comprehensive. Well, this is a document, it's gone through 16 drafts. More than 200 people have been involved in this. We've presented a preliminary plan where we're ready to present a more formal plan tonight. And as this lovely young woman said right here, we're ready to work with you. So when is the board going to work with families? When is the board going to work with students? And why is it that the schools that are being closed are not in St. Anthony Park? And why aren't any of the schools in Highland Park being closed? Well, let's talk about race and class. These are deliberate decisions. So, you have suggested in this plan that we expand early childhood. Terrific idea. You've also been told, and I want to say, terrific idea. Let's do more of that. You have space. You've clearly documented that there's space. Let's have more early childhood. You've pointed out, Ms. Allen just pointed out to me yesterday, and I agree, that there are some schools that say, we can merge. That's fine. The French immersion is an example. Ms. Allen pointed out another example. There are some schools that want to do this. That's fine. Let's move ahead with that. But let's also listen to the families for years who've been complaining about the placement office. And Ms. Allen heard about it yesterday, and you heard about it again today. There is a problem in the placement office. When are you going to deal with that? Let's talk about why. Let's talk about why the decision was moved back. Two of us suggested to you that you had failed to meet the legal requirements of posting information, and nobody has acknowledged that that was a mistake. Where is the accountability for that? Where is the recognition that somebody in this state, in this district, made a mistake? And when are there going to be consequences for things like that? Or for harassing women and having the district having to pay thousands of dollars for a man who still has his job? We urge in this document that you expand early childhood, that you focus on the placement service, that you present clear and measurable goals. I'm really sorry that Maria's not here, because Marie, 2 and 3 years ago, was passing out a document which I strongly encourage you to read about clear and measurable goals. And where are the clear and measurable goals? I thank Ms. Turner, who spent about an hour with us saying there are no measurable goals. Where are the measurable goals? Where is the accountability? And
Joe Nathan, your time is up.
Good evening. My name is Lata Pui, and I am a mother of 3 years-old child. I am a resident of Eastside St. Paul for over 10 years and a graduate from SPPS school districts. I am also a youth and family coach at the Korean Organization of Minnesota, where I work with newly arrived students adjusting to the new environments. I am here today to urge the school board member to stop the closing and consolidations of our community school and to vote no on the SPPS intervention plan until a thorough community engagement process has been completed. So far, the community engagement sessions are very few. They have been more of a presentation telling us what is going to happen rather than an engagement process to hear for the community to create a plan to address our concerns. Korean families have gone through enormous transitions in the last decades. We have been in constant displacements. This short timeline to uproot our families in the midst of pandemic is not the path toward developing a well-rounded education for each child. Our immigrants, refugees, and limited English speakers need to be given proper time to fully understand the plan, give proper feedback, and be actively part of the decisions made for our community and the schools that we attend. The closings and consolidations of J&J, Wellstone, Leap, and Highwood Hill will be incredibly destabilizing to our families. We need to do better. KOM support more than 19,000 Korean refugees from Burma, and St. Paul is home to the largest Korean communities in the country. Our communities come to Minnesota to thrive, feel welcome, and connect with strong communities. Our school are a critical part of our lives and have been an incredible resource to our families, which is why we ask you to vote no to the SPPS evasion plans. Thank you.
Thank you, La.
My name is Jessica Colander. I'm an SPPS parent and staff. I've worked at 4 SPPS schools over the years. My children have gone and go to Wellstone. My oldest is at Owell, my middle is at a charter school, and my youngest is a kindergartner at Wellstone. Wellstone is a community, no matter where they come from, no matter which path they study. The administration and staff at Wellstone cultivate a culture and climate that purposefully integrates values that reflect who it was named for, Paul and Sheila Wellstone. This is a unique quality amongst SPPS schools. The type of atmosphere this creates at Wellstone, I have not experienced when working at other schools. Numbers and data cannot quantify this unique and tangible quality that Wellstone possesses. The premise for Envision SPPS is not unfounded. Some things may need to change to better provide for some areas of SPPS, but the way Envision has been dictated has felt like an injustice and a disservice to us, the families and students of SPPS. While your presenters tout how much the school or that community participated in planning their part of Envision, you rub salt in the wound of these school communities who were blindsided by the vision you wish to impose. Members of the board, please vote no to Envision as a package. Time and care should be taken to engage as many SPPS staff, students, and families as possible as stakeholders in their future. To quote Paul Wellstone, the only way to change is to vote. People are responsible. We, the staff, students, and families of all affected schools, are people, not data. Give us the opportunity to exercise our responsibilities, to have our vote, by inviting our participation in this process. In the end, not everyone can win, but even in losing, the dignity of inclusion still remains for those who participated. We, the staff, students, and families of SPPS, are here calling for you to recognize our dignity and respect our voices and opinions. Vote no, the plan as it stands. The district and administration needs to envision a future with us, not without us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, next 3 speakers are Anta Thorseng Orisi, Michelle Benegas, Joe Bumgart.
Hi, my name is Anta Thorsang Sri. I was graduated on 2016 at Leaf High School. As a new immigrant, I believe in a better life, better education, and a place that we fit in. Leaf High School is the place that everybody fit in and we feel safe in there. Leaf High School does have the ability for the student to become successful. For example, I am a chef and I am a small business owner. And many friends of mine, they are ER, CNA, a university student, and so on. If LEAP have the ability to become for students to become success, why close LEAP? Please give this opportunity to the newcomer, for the new immigrant, so they can have the same success that I have. Please reconsider about closing LEAP High School. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Anta.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Michelle Benegas. I'm the parent of 3 bicultural SPPS students, a professor of ESL teacher education at Hamline University, a consultant to the district, co-leading the Cultivating Asset-Based Practices for Multilingual Learners initiative with the MLL department, and a former SPPS employee. I began my career at Leap High School in 1999. During my time there, we frequently welcomed guests from out of state who were interested in replicating the LEAP model in their setting. At Hamline University, we are honored to share our neighborhood with this revolutionary school. LEAP provides a soft landing pad for kids who have experienced unspeakable trauma. The school stands out not only as a compassionate response to displaced people, but also an innovative schooling model that has been replicated literally around the world. At the height of the Syrian refugee crisis in 2018, a delegation of school administrators from France, England, Sweden, and the Netherlands decided to come to LEAP to see what this model was all about, so that they could replicate this model in their countries as they had huge numbers of newcomers arriving. We still hear from them. We still hear from them. How is LEAP going? And they're telling us how their schools are doing. So LEAP is an asset to our community, but it's also an asset in my field, in the field of teacher education. LEAP helps us usher in a new cadre of teachers who are prepared to meet our changing demographics. Shortly, you will receive a letter that is signed by ESL teacher educators from across the metro area. In the 12 hours since that letter has been drafted, 14, which is pretty much all of them, have signed. Last month, President Joe Biden signed the highest refugee resettlement cap since 1993. 125,000 refugees will be welcomed into the United States this year. Afghan refugees are already arriving at MSP, and we're working with them. They're arriving at a hotel in a local suburb, and they spend a couple of weeks there, and then they find out where they're going to go. We want them to come to St. Paul. We want them to choose St. Paul, and we want to advertise this innovative model as a safe place where they can come. So let's not close this innovative school before they even arrive. Please don't close Leap High School.
Thank you, Michelle.
Good evening. My name is Joe Baumgart. I teach social studies and ELL at Leap High School. I would like to, well, thank you all for being here. And I especially want to shout out the students who are here tonight who spoke. Many of them are in bed by now, I hope. I would like to read you a small sample of the many unanswered questions that LEAP students, alumni, staff, and supporters posed in the somewhat disappointing informational meeting that my colleague Sandy Milner mentioned earlier. These are difficult but important questions that need to be considered before making these decisions. First off, how is it equitable to close the only school that is 100% immigrants? LEAP is 100% immigrant high school age students. How does SPPS ignore that as a singular group? Has any consideration been given to co-locating LEAP with another program? Why is LEAP the only high school in this plan? Did SPPS consider closing other ALCs too? Many people in the meeting were shocked that the district seemed to know so little about this school when, as Dr. Benegas just mentioned, we have hosted educators from all over the United States, Latin America, Europe, and Asia who have hoped to replicate the same program back home. What specifically are the things that LEAP students are missing, and has SPPS asked them? I can tell you with confidence that they have not asked them. There are years of unanswered questions about the placement center directing newcomer students to crowded high schools. Why aren't these students offered the option of going to LEAP? I can tell you with confidence they are not offered this as an option unless they bring it up. They need the secret password to find out about LEAP. And has there been any consideration of sending some new immigrants from overcrowded schools to LEAP? Does SPPS have some data that suggests that larger schools and class sizes benefit students? What does closing the only school uniquely dedicated to older immigrants and refugees say about how SPPS welcomes and supports the newest members of our community? Will students aged 19 to 21 and possibly 22 now feel welcome in mainstream schools? Because they certainly are not welcomed now. And finally, and this is the tough one, and I have discussed with colleagues today whether it was my place to bring this up. It's a difficult question, but it's the kind of question that as a social studies teacher I have to discuss with students regularly. And that is, given the disproportionate impact of this program on refugees and on students of color, is the Envision plan what systemic racism looks like? This plan, no matter how good the intentions are of this plan, a plan that keeps one group perpetually disadvantaged is not something I want for SPPS or for St. Paul, and is not something that I would want my name attached to as a supporter.
Thank you, Joe. All right. Next three speakers are Carrie Gamble, Par Yese, and Kathy Carmarina.
Thank you, members of the school board, for listening again tonight. My name is Carrie Gamble. I'm a Wellstone parent. As you consider the perspectives of family and community members you're hearing, I hope you will make a plan to vote no on the Envision proposal as it is currently constructed. This plan lacks the forward thinking needed to attract more families to St. Paul. And still, it disrupts and damages the deep-rooted communities that already exist. As many have already pointed out, the justification for the closure of Wellstone in particular is all wrong. Its enrollment is stable. It already offers the key staffing that the district deems to be well balanced. And while the facility may benefit from some updates, it's a beautiful and cherished landmark in our North End neighborhood, one that deserves to be bustling with energy and excitement of students and teachers and families. You know what? Parents are smart. They know that what counts most in the education of their children is not about the building. It's about the relationships. It's about the character of the staff, how they work with the families. Give me an old building filled with hardworking, caring staff any day. I will choose it over a remodeled building across town every single time. Wellstone School, much like the late senator honored by its name, is a community that cares for the people in the community and works collectively to better the lives of our students. It's all about the legacy of collective action. You've probably been feeling that in these meetings, and it's real. This engaged community that you're hearing about didn't develop overnight. It will not be so easy to simply pluck it from the North End and transplant it to new locations. Once fractured by this proposal, I fear that the Wellstone community that I know and love will cease to exist. And like so many parents, after this last over a year and a half of the pandemic, I'm just waiting for the day when it will be safe for me and all parents to walk the halls of Wellstone again. I long to attend these events, these family events that Wellstone does so well. You know, we've missed the guitars and the singing children on the historic stage of Wellstone's theater, marking the treasured Hispanic Heritage Celebration that has always been one of the things we look forward to every year. We've missed the school plays, the drumline, the dancing performances, the talent show. We've missed the science nights with their impressive collection of live reptiles. It's incredible. They captivate the parents and the students, crowds of people. We've missed attending conferences, being face-to-face across the table with teachers who are talented and trained and who know my kids and spend more time with them during the day than I get to. In closing the school, it's not a mathematical equation of staffing.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Paisen. I came from Thailand refugee camp, and I arrived in St. Paul, Minnesota in 2011, and started my school at the same year. I graduated from Lake High School in 2017. First, I want to start off with how are you all today? For me, with my work at case, I'm doing good. Back to what I'm here for today. To all the students, parents, friends, former teacher, and the school board, we are here today to express how I feel about closing Lip High School. Not only I feel sad when I heard that school will be closing after the end of this year, I am feeling like it's also take away student opportunity to start school here. When I arrived in the United States, I was placed in Lip High School. I met a level 11 account teacher. They support me in every way because I speak no English back then. Today, I have a good job, and I came here. I can help community because of the resources I received from the school. I chose to from the school. I chose to stay in this school because all the teachers are from the same background as me. As we start from the beginning. If I were choose to attack to other school, I will become successful today because I'm very shy person, and I don't know how to speak English language, and it is hard. When I saw other high school, I know that other school is the right fit for me because they school have more student in classroom and more students speak fluent in English. Um, Closed Lip High School is like closed part of our history and taking away America dream from immigrant student like us. I always want to visit Lip High School, however, um, whatever I have 10, but due to COVID, there is only little chance to meet with one another. Someday I wish to bring my kids back to this school to show them how I start my education in this country and how difficult I have to endure throughout the year. But with the help all of Lake High School's teaching, I was able to achieve my dream. Today, I pleased to school district not to close the Lip High School. Lip make able to speak in front of everyone today. Also, because of great education we get is from Lip High School. All of us speak English, get our career job, and we are able to go to college like other high school students do. As a former student of Lip High School, I hope we continue doing what we have done before. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Parye. All right. Next three speakers are Dave List, Christy Nelson, Mike Nelson. They are not here. Next three is Carol Kuzniarek, Carmen Valacio, Jamal Ogato. They are not here. Ana Greer, Gustavo Rosso, Eserku Gay. They are not here. And one more time, Kathy Carmarina. Okay, thank you. With that, there are no more speakers signed up. And so next we will provide an overview of the future meeting schedule. Future meeting schedule can be found online at www.spps.org/BOE or by calling Board Secretary at 612-434-1105. Our next special Envision SPPS meeting will be held Monday, November 15th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. And our next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held Tuesday, November 16th, 2021 at 6:05 p.m. with public comment beginning at 5:30 p.m. Please also view the live stream link online at the board website at spps.org/BOE. And with that, time is 8:25 and we are adjourned. Yeah. We got a good system in place.